Hello YouTube, Crazy Robot Lady here, still kind of on the outskirts of Fluville, but headed back toward Crazy Robot Lady Town. Today we are going to listen to another Tiger 2XL tape. This one is X-Men, The Ghosts That Haunt Us. This is the second X-Men tape in the series. After that, we will have one more in the story vein, which is Power Rangers, Attack of the 100-Foot Teenagers, which is by far the rarest and the most expensive of all of these tapes. My copy is bootleg. I recorded it from archive.org and had somebody align the tracks for me. They're not great, but it's better than spending almost $1,000 on a tape. That's just insane. Actually, I think it might have been like $600, but whatever. And I have a question for you guys, and I would really like you to comment. After this Power Rangers story tape, do you want to go into the educational tapes from the 1992 Tiger 2XL? Or would you like to just move on? Depending on which opinion or whatever gets the most answers, you know, which one comes out on top, whether the yays or the nays, I will either start the educational series next, or say farewell to our good buddy 2XL and find something else to present to you guys. So, alright, because my voice isn't all the way recovered yet, I'm not gonna use it up. So, let's get to it.
People of Earth, heed me well. This is Magneto. For decades, I have tried to live peacefully with Homo sapiens, hoping that one day mankind would be willing to accept their mutant brothers and sisters. Time and again, Homo sapiens have persecuted and killed Homo superior. I will no longer allow this to happen. From now on, all mutants on Earth are under my protection. Mutants are a minority on your world. Homo sapiens outnumber Homo superior by a ratio of 25,000 to 1. Therefore, I have decided that for every mutant harmed by a human, I shall destroy 25,000 human beings. If you cannot learn to live peacefully with your mutant brethren, then you shall suffer the same fates you mete out. From this day forward, there will be peace between our kinds.
Hi, it's me, 2XL, your favorite robot pal. You just turned me on, and we are already in trouble. Magneto is threatening the Earth. It's up to you to guide the X-Men through this dangerous adventure, but don't worry, I'll be there to help you. During this adventure, I will ask you a series of questions through which you will control the events of this story. Whenever I ask you a question, I will tell you what your options are. After I have listed your options, you must press the button that corresponds with the action you want to take. But you must wait until after I have said the word now before you press a button. Okay, are you ready? Remember, follow all of my instructions and only press my buttons after I say the word now. Let us now, sounds like a salad, let us now begin our story, The Ghosts That Haunt Us. Where would you like to begin this adventure? Press A for the European home of the shape-shifting mutant called Mystique. Press B for the space station known as Avalon, where Magneto currently makes his home. Or press C for Xavier's Institute for Higher Learning, where the X-Men reside. Press A, B, or C now.
B. We go into Avalon.
In orbit around the Earth is the remnants of a space station that has been appropriated by Magneto and his followers. Standing in the control room of the station is a tall man dressed in a red bodysuit and long flowing purple cape. He turns his head, face hidden beneath his purple helmet, to greet his metal-skinned disciple as the young mutant enters.
What is it, Piotr?
Pyotr Nikolaevich Rasputin, the mutant known as Colossus, left Professor Charles Xavier and the X-Men to follow Eric Magnus Lenscher. Still, his new mentor's voice sends chills down his spine.
I have been thinking about your ultimatum. Can you truly justify destroying humans?
Piotr, you and I have seen so much pain and suffering in our lives. We have both lost our families to hatred.
But killing people?
As my people, mutant kind is threatened by Homo sapiens. I shall do everything in my power to protect them. The mutants of Earth need me to lead them.
There was a time when the thought of Magneto leading the world's mutants would have been rejected by Pyotr Rasputin. For years, he had followed Charles Xavier's path toward peaceful coexistence with mankind. But the murder of his parents and the death of his beloved sister Ilyana has caused him to doubt whether humans and mutants can ever live together peaceably.
Has there been any response to your transmission?
Not yet, but there will be. The leaders of Earth's nations know that I do not make empty threats.
We all know that Magneto has the power and the will to carry out his plans. So let's leave Avalon now to check in with other important members of our cast. Where would you like to go next, friend? Press 1 for Xavier's Institute for Higher Learning, where the X-Men reside. Or press 2 for the European home of the shape-shifting mutant called Mystique. It's up to you. Please press either 1 or 2 now.
There was a time when the indigo blue-skinned mutant Mystique cared about humanity. There was a time when she fought for peace between humans and mutants. There was a time when she used her psionic ability to shift the atoms and molecules of her body in the employ of the United States government. She no longer cares about governments or borders or mutant-human relations. All she cares about is her own survival. That is why the arrival of Adrian Icecalt at her chalet is a most unwelcome intrusion.
Tell me, Herr Icecalt, why should I go along with your plan?
That should be obvious, Mystique. Magneto must be stopped. Together we can do it.
That does not answer my question. Why should I get involved?
Because I failed to stop Magneto once, I won't make that mistake again. The future of our life on this planet is at stake, and you and I hold the key.
Herr Icecalt, there's only one life I care about, my own.
We both know that's not true. You cared about destiny. If you go along with my plan and we succeed, then I will use the talisman I have found to bring her back to you.
Mystique considers the offer. She could simply kill Adrian Icecalt and take the talisman, but he alone knows how to use it. If it can channel souls, as Icecalt has been led to believe, then it could be worth going along with his scheme, just to have her beloved destiny back.
All right, Herr Icecalt. I will go with you to Germany. Pray for your soul if you cross me.
Let's move on. The X-Men are running a training session in the danger room, preparing for their inevitable confrontation with Magneto. And that's where we are about to go to. With whom would you like to train? Press 3 to join Bishop and Jubilee, or 4 to join Rogue and Wolverine. Please press 3 or 4 now.
4. We spend a lot of time with Wolverine and Jean in the last one, so
The
Believe
Danger
Wolverine.
Room is where the X-Men practice their teamwork and prepare for battle. Although it appears to be an unassuming room, hidden throughout is a complex array of robotic and holographic equipment that can simulate almost any battle scenario. Inside, waiting for their team leader, Cyclops, to prepare a training session for them, are Rogue and Wolverine. Wolverine rejoined the X-Men not long ago.
Wait a minute. What? What?
Or two now.
Hold on. Sorry.
With whom would you like to train? Press 3 to join Bishop and Jubilee, or 4 to join Rogue and Wolverine. Please press 3 or 4 now.
I did.
Of all of Professor Charles Xavier's creations, the Danger Room is one of his most incredible.
Well,
It is
evidently
here
I
that
did.
the X-Men practice their teamwork and prepare for battle. Although it appears to be an unassuming room with dull gray walls, hidden throughout is a complex array of robotic and holographic equipment that can simulate almost any battle scenario. Inside that dull gray room, waiting for their team leader, Cyclops, to prepare a session for them, are Bishop and Jubilee. Bishop is a tall, imposing black man with long, flowing hair. The letter M has been tattooed over the right side of his face, bisected by his eye. He was marked with the M because he is a mutant. He has the ability to absorb any energy and release it again later as a power force blast. He stands waiting for the first attack. The gun he brought with him from the future is primed and ready to fire. Jubilee stands beside him. Although she is the youngest student at Professor Xavier's school, she has been with the team longer than he. She has the ability to project brightly colored globules of plasma energy with concussive force. Professor X claims that when she has learned to harness her powers, she will be one of the most powerful mutants on Earth. Right now, when paired off with Bishop, she finds that hard to believe. As they wait for the session to begin, Jubilee works up the courage to ask Bishop the questions that have been nagging her for months.
Bishop, can I ask you a couple of questions?
We're here to prepare ourselves for the coming battle, Jubilee, not a game of 20 questions.
If I know Psych, it's going to take him a while to program the scenario. We got time. Besides, if we're going to have to rely on each other in battle, we got to know each other.
Okay.
You say you're from the future, and you keep talking about how one of the X-Men is going to betray the team.
Gambit cannot be trusted.
Yeah, well, that's what you keep saying. What I don't understand is why you didn't warn us that Colossus was going to join up with Magneto. For that matter, why didn't you tell us Magneto was coming back? Until he crashed Juliana's funeral, everybody thought he was dead.
Before Bishop can answer, a laser cannon comes out of the wall and begins firing at the two heroes.
Uh-oh, looks like Bishop and Jubilee should have been paying more attention. Were they prepared for the attack? Press 3 if they were taken by surprise, or 4 if they were ready to protect themselves. Please press 3 or 4 now.
All through their conversation, Bishop and Jubilee were preparing for an attack. It was Jubilee who first noticed the laser cannon descending from a hatch in the ceiling.
Incoming at 2 o'clock!
Jubilee dives and rolls as the laser cannon fires at her. Its beams cut into her bright yellow coat as she heads for cover. Bishop spins and fires his gun, destroying the cannon. However, before either of them can catch their breath, there is a blur of movement aimed directly at the former head of the Xavier School enforcers. The blur is Sabretooth, former assassin and now student at Professor X's academy. With an animalistic snarl, Sabretooth lashes with one of his razor-sharp claws and cuts into Bishop's arm, causing him to drop his gun.
Blast! What's Sabretooth doing in here?
Bishop spins around, hitting Sabretooth in the back of the head, knocking him to the floor.
Now I can understand why nobody wants him at the school. He's probably just been waiting for his chance to attack us.
Sabretooth springs off the floor, aiming his claws for Bishop's face. The two fall to the floor in a deadly embrace. It is one of Jubilee's explosions that saves Bishop's life. Her charged plasma knocks Sabretooth back just before he can strike a killing blow to her teammate. Snarling, Sabretooth lands on the floor. He leaps at Jubilee. Jubilee jumps out of the way but hits her shoulder on the floor. Sabretooth spins and comes to a stop over her. He is about to cut her throat open with his claws when Bishop retrieves his gun and fires an explosive shell at Sabretooth, who is blown across the room, his body bursting into flames on impact with the far wall.
It's a good thing you knew it was just a robot. That would have killed the real Sabretooth.
I didn't know, Jubilee. I fell back on my training. In my future, it's kill or be killed.
Suddenly, there is a large explosion. When the smoke clears, Jubilee and Bishop are confronted by Magneto.
Who launches into action first, friend? Press 1 for Bishop, or 2 for Jubilee. Press 1 or 2 now.
1.
Again, Bishop's training kicks in. He runs at Magneto, gun blazing. It is a simple matter for the master of magnetism to use his mutant powers to rip the weapon out of Bishop's hands and destroy it.
Weapons created by humans for humans will never hurt me, Bishop.
In a previous battle with Bishop, Magneto learned that the force beams he controlled could be absorbed by the warrior from the future and used against him. This time, Magneto uses his control over the electromagnetic fields to lift the husk of the Sabretooth robot and fling it at Bishop. Jubilee sees what is happening and makes a flying tackle of Bishop, carrying both of them out of harm's way. Meanwhile, inside the control annex of the Danger Room, Cyclops, Professor Xavier's first student and one of the X-Men's team leaders, is running the training scenario for Bishop and Jubilee, as Rogue and Wolverine look on.
Don't you think that Jubilee's a little young to be preparing to go toe-to-toe with Magneto, Cyclops?
If Jubilee is going to be a member of the X-Men, she's going to face Magneto sooner or later, Rogue. Every X-Man does. We already know Magneto's back. Better she learn here than go into the field unprepared.
Besides, that little girl packs quite a wallop. She can take care of herself.
Magneto's the big leagues, Wolverine.
And the Sentinels ain't. I'd sooner trust my life to her than a hothead like Bishop any day.
Inside the Danger Room, Bishop rebounds from the tumble, reaching over his shoulder to the gun in the holster strapped to his back. He lines Magneto up in his sights and fires.
Not a good idea.
What does Bishop fire, friend? It's up to you. Press 3 for explosive grenades. Or 4 if you want to fire a laser beam. Press 3 or 4 now.
I would fire a laser, buddy, because the grenades have metal in them.
Bishop, realizing that the grenades are in metal casings, knows better than to fire them at an adversary who has control of the electromagnetic field. Instead, he uses the laser option on his weapon. Magneto takes flight, easily evading the laser beams.
I think you just made him mad.
The feeling is mutual.
Half a world away, a United Nations transport helicopter lands outside a small village in Germany. Its 2 passengers disembark, instructing the pilot to leave until summoned back. The woman is the first to speak.
You seem well connected, Herr Icecult.
My mission to stop Magneto has the full support of the United Nations Security Council, Mystique. They understand that if we are to stop the monster, we must stop the man.
They make their way north, and after a short walk, they come across a lonely cottage in the middle of a dense wood. The owner of the cottage hears them approach, and, fearing humans, flees out the back door to watch. Icecult and Mystique search the clearing until they find their objective, a small gravesite with a marker that reads, Magda.
This is it. This is the key to Magneto's soul.
The shapeshifter known as Mystique could care less about Magneto's soul. All she cares about is Adrian Icecult's promise to use his magical talisman to resurrect her beloved Destiny. That is the only reason she agreed to Icecult's plan. Icecult sets down his backpack and removes a sonic shovel. With it, he begins to dig a hole in front of the tombstone. As soon as he begins, the cow-headed owner of the cottage runs out from her hiding place and screams at her to stop. Reacting instantly, Mystique pulls out a weapon and fires at the cow-headed mutant. The woman gives a short yelp, then falls.
What the devil do you think you are doing? That creature is Bova. She is important to Magneto.
Don't worry, Ice Cold. I merely incapacitated her.
Adrian Ice Cold does worry that Mystique may be too unstable to be trusted, but without her ability to change her appearance, his plan won't work. Trying to ignore his nagging doubts, Ice Cold begins to exhume Magda's grave. Meanwhile, in the danger room, the Magneto double brings its full attention to Bishop. Reaching out with its magnetic powers, he seizes control of the iron in Bishop's bloodstream. Bishop's red blood cells cannot carry the oxygen necessary to sustain life.
It's up to Jubilee to act before Bishop suffocates. What should she do? Press 1 if you want her to attack Magneto directly. Or press 2 if you want her to find another way to save Bishop. Okay, it's up to you. Select 1 or 2 now.
2.
Seeing Magneto lift Bishop's struggling body off the floor spurs Jubilee into action. She creates an amazing series of explosions around the feet of the Magneto double. The floor gives way to the concussive force of Jubilee's plasma attack. The robot loses its control of Bishop's body as it falls through the hole in the floor. It lands in the sub-basement with a fiery shower of sparks as Jubilee collapses, exhausted by her effort. The door opens, and Rogue, Wolverine, and Cyclops enter. Wolverine rushes to Jubilee's side.
You okay, kid?
Looks like I made a big mess, Wolvie. Think the professor will take it out of my spending money?
Just let him try, kid. You did good.
Bishop fights his way back to consciousness. The first thing he sees as his vision clears is the woman's face, surrounded by a halo of brown hair, crowned with a beautiful white stripe.
Rogue.
Relax and catch your breath, Sugar. Cyclops got a little carried away.
Carried away? Do you really think that Magneto's gonna cut us any slack?
He's right, Rogue. We have to be prepared for anything, even the possibility that we will be killed.
Bishop and Jubilee are helped to their feet as Cyclops announces that there will be a training session for the entire Blue Squad in 30 minutes. Before he can return to the control annex, everybody is stopped by the sudden sound of their teacher's voice. Xavier is not in the room, but his face can be seen, and his voice heard in the minds of everybody in the danger room.
Attention X-Men, we have a priority red emergency. Please report to meeting room 3 immediately. I repeat, report to meeting room 3 immediately.
You heard the man. To report to meeting room 3, press my 3 button. Go ahead, do it. Press button 3 now.
Okay.
Professor Xavier and Dr. Hank McCoy, the blue-furred mutant known also as the Beast, are waiting for Cyclops and the others when they arrive in meeting room 3.
Has Magneto made his move, Professor?
Possibly, Cyclops. I'll let Hank explain.
The Beast removes his reading glasses from his nose to address the crowd. He, like Cyclops, was one of Xavier's first students, and he, too, has a long history with Magneto. I was on duty with Cerebro, monitoring the planet for any signs of inexplicable mutant activity. We've got a major hotspot. The Beast points to a map displayed on a bank of monitors behind him. The signal came from just outside this small town in Germany.
I think we should investigate. If Magneto is monitoring Earth, then he is going to take an interest in this signal. This is the village where his wife is buried.
And you think he might have something to do with it?
If he didn't, then he's going to want to investigate it.
And you want us there to meet him?
Professor X nods his head. Rogue looks from him to her team leader, Cyclops, still not sure how she feels. She's not the only one. There are some who feel that the battle should be taken directly to Magneto's fortress, Avalon, which is in orbit around the planet. Others feel that the activity in Germany may indicate that Magneto is already on Earth, or is soon to be on his way.
It's up to you, friend. What do you want the X-Men to do? 1, go to Germany to investigate the mutant power surge. Or 2, go to Avalon and confront Magneto on his orbiting base. Select 1 or 2 now.
1.
There's a quick debate among Cyclops and the rest of his team. Finally, realizing that time is of the essence, a decision is reached. They will follow Xavier's plan and go to Germany. Storm and the rest of the X-Men will stay on alert at the school, prepared to take the battle to Avalon should it become necessary.
Very good. I knew you'd understand the necessity of investigating Cerebro's readings. The Blackbird has been prepared for us.
Us?
Yes, Cyclops. I will be accompanying you.
The Beast accompanies the others to the hangar, where their ship, the Blackbird, has been readied. He is going to remain behind to coordinate communications. Rogue, Cyclops, and Bishop are already on the ship, when Jubilee is about to go aboard with Wolverine. The professor recalls the recent funeral of Ilyana Nikolaevich, Colossus's younger sister. He doesn't want to see another one of his young charges put to rest. He puts a hand on the sleeve of her yellow jacket to stop her.
Wait, Jubilee. This mission is too dangerous for you. You will be staying behind to aid Beast.
But Professor, I was training as hard as the rest of the team. I'm ready for this.
Absolutely not, Jubilee. I will not risk your life.
It ain't yours to risk, Charlie. Seems to me that she's put in more time in the field than you, and she's a lot more mobile. If she thinks she's ready, she deserves a shot.
What do you think, friend? After all, it's up to you. Should Professor X agree to let Jubilee come with them? Please answer by pressing yes or no now.
Why not? Yes. I would be a terrible leader.
Wolverine's words unsettle Professor X. He may not have Jubilee's battle experience, but he is an adult. He knows exactly what the danger is, and is willing to accept the risk, but he can't accept it for his youngest student.
But you're not, Professor. I'm willing and able to accept this risk myself. I'm not just some stupid kid. I know how to take care of myself.
Is it wise to stand here wasting time with this debate? If you have trained Jubilee as well as you've trained all your students, Charles, then she should be a welcome addition to any mission. Wolverine adds his voice to the beasts. And finally, Professor X relents.
Very well. You may come with us, but you are not to engage Magneto directly, and you will do exactly as you are told. Is that understood?
Jubilee nods her head enthusiastically. She tries not to think about the fact that she wants a piece of Magneto for what he did to Wolverine. She fears that her teacher will read her mind and leave her behind. However, Charles Xavier does not make it a habit to probe the minds of his students, and so he takes her at her word. Although the Blackbird is faster than any commercial or military aircraft, it still takes hours to get to Germany. Cerebro continues to monitor the flaring of electromagnetic brainwave activity in the target destination. The readings indicate continued mutant activity, although none of it is strong enough to be Magneto's. It is after dark when the Blackbird reaches the landing coordinates. Jubilee is left with the ship, while the rest of the team performs a reconnaissance mission. It seems quiet on first look. Professor X makes a psi scan of the area, but his efforts are blocked by a psi-dampening field of mutant origin. Before he can warn his students that something is blocking his telepathic reconnaissance, they are surrounded by a group of young men and women dressed in purple and red bodysuits with large gold shoulder pads. The X-Men recognize them as the acolytes of Magneto. It is the red-haired woman who addresses them.
Why does it not surprise me to find you and your students here, Charles Xavier? This is a cowardly way to attack Magneto.
With that, the women's followers attack the X-Men.
It looks like we may be in for a fight. Who is going to be the first target of the acolytes? It's up to you. 3, Professor X, or 4, Cyclops. Okay, pick up your finger and select 3 or 4 now.
4.
Unision, the Kleinstock brothers, Javits, Scanner, and Katu accompany Amelia. A 7-foot-tall, heavily muscled man attacks the leader of the team, Cyclops. Cyclops is overwhelmed by a blow that knocks his ruby quartz visor off his face. Before he can close his eyes, he releases an optic blast that knocks most of the acolytes to the ground. The explosion also knocks over Professor Xavier's hover chair. sending him sprawling. Wolverine quickly retrieves Cyclops' visor and returns it to his leader, as the acolyte with the psionically controlled exoskeleton takes action. She reaches out and attacks Rogue in midair.
Who is the first to fall? I need to know. Press 1 for Rogue or 2 for her attacker. Please select 1 or 2 now.
It is the acolyte Unicyone who is the first to act. Rogue's attacker lashes out with her hand, and her electrically charged exoskeleton mimics the movement. Rogue easily evades the blow, flying high over the other woman. Unicyone tries again to grab Rogue within the fist of her exoskeleton. Rogue takes evasive action. Her maneuverability seems to be much better than her attackers. She flies around Unicyone and into her back. Although Unicyon's psionic exoskeleton easily absorbs the blow, she is knocked into the top of a nearby tree. On the ground, the other X-Men find themselves embroiled in the battle as well. The twin acolytes, known as the Kleinstock brothers, begin to fire plasma blasts at Professor X, Wolverine, Bishop, and Cyclops.
Who is the first X-Men to roll into action against the Kleinstock brothers? Press B for Bishop or C for Wolverine. Select B or C now.
C.
As the explosions close in around him and his teammates, Wolverine tucks himself into a ball and rolls through the line of fire. Getting back to his feet, he dashes at the brothers, tackling them. The acolytes are knocked into a nearby tree.
These trees are very convenient.
Happens next? Press 1 if you want Professor X to try to talk the acolytes out of fighting. Press C if you want the acolytes to continue the battle. Press 1 or C now.
I'm sorry, guys. C.
As the flames die, Professor X rides forward in his hover chair, his gaze fixed on the acolyte's leader, Amelia Vogt.
Amelia, this must stop. We have no reason to fight.
No? Then why did you and your students attack Bova, Charles Xavier? Why did you desecrate Magda's grave?
As the combatants pause, Professor X and the X-Men are able to take in their surroundings. Magda's tombstone lies in pieces before the open grave. The cow-headed woman known as Bova is unconscious, propped up against a tree. Xavier is horrified. He knows that this will bring Magneto's wrath down on everybody on Earth. Amelia takes several steps back, surrounding herself with the acolytes and addresses them.
We must destroy those who would confer with Flatskins. We must destroy those who would dishonor Magneto's teachings. Destroy the X-Men.
The battle begins again. Unicyone uses her mind to control her exoskeleton, grasping Wolverine in her imagined claw. She holds him many feet over the treetops, slowly squeezing the life out of him. Wolverine struggles, but his adamantium claws can't cut through the mentally projected exoskeleton. Cyclops sees his teammate fighting for his life and fires an optic blast at Unicyone. The distraction causes her to drop Wolverine, who is caught by Rogue and set gently on the ground. Meanwhile, the Kleinstock brothers merge and fire at Cyclops. Cyclops' body armor protects him from the blast, but he is forced into a retreat, leaving Professor X open to an attack. Javits, the 7-foot-tall, heavily muscled acolyte, advances on the man, confined to his hover chair. He grabs hold of Professor X's chair and lifts it over his head, but it keeps going. He looks up to see that Rogue has taken Xavier out of his grasp. Bishop goes into action.
I now have a question for you. Does Bishop get the drop on Javits? If you want the answer to be yes, press yes. If you want the answer to be no, press no. Please press yes or no now.
Yes.
Having heard enough, Bishop raises his weapon, The motion draws the attention of the heavily muscled 7-foot-tall acolyte. He charges at Bishop. Bishop turns and fires, dropping the other mutant. Then he takes aim at the acolyte's leader, Amelia Vogt. He figures if he kills their leader, the others will fall into disarray. His finger tightens on the trigger, and he fires.
Amelia Vogt would be dead if not for someone's timely intervention. Who saves her life? Press 3 for one of her teammates, or 4 for one of the X-Men. Press 3 or 4 now.
Wanna hurt people. 3.
There is only a split second to react, and one of Amelia's fellow acolytes does so. Katu, like his master Magneto, is able to control the electromagnetic field, although not to the same degree as his mentor. Reaching out with his mind, Katu manipulates the workings of Bishop's gun and causes the firing mechanism to lock. The gun explodes in his hands.
Ouch.
What the?
Meanwhile, in the monitoring station on board Magneto's orbiting satellite Avalon, Colossus is on duty. He has been studying the surge of mutant activity in Germany and brings it to the attention of Magneto.
Do you suppose that the humans have waged war against mutants in response to my ultimatum?
It may be more complicated than that, Magneto. Look!
Colossus points to the pinprick of light on the monitor with a map of Germany. As soon as Magneto sees where the activity is, he shakes with rage.
I am going down there. I am leaving you in charge of the station.
Magneto flies into a rage and out of the space station. On Earth, the acolytes are also enraged, Bishop having tried to kill their leader. The entire team descends on the X-Man from the future.
Who pulls Bishop's fat out of the fire? Press 3 for an X-Man, or 4 for a surprise.
Ha.
Press 3 or 4 now.
3.
Rogue flies to Bishop's vessel, barreling through the acolytes like a cannonball. The X-Men circle Bishop, prepared for a fight. Before it starts, a voice freezes all of them.
You will all stop this fighting now.
Hovering over their heads is the purple-cloaked figure of Magneto.
Who dares disturb the peace of my beloved Magda's grave? It figures. Charles Xavier and his students. What a cowardly way to attack me.
We did not do this, Magnus.
Do what?
Magneto sees that the marker for Magda's grave has been destroyed and the grave itself has been dug up. He also sees Bova's unconscious body.
Who? Who would do this? I swear I shall make them pay.
Magneto's anger disturbs the electromagnetic fields and there is thunder and lightning. Ice Cult and Mystique look on. Praying the talisman to channel the spirits of the dead will work.
What do you think, friend? I now need your input. Do you want Ice Cold to put his plan into action? If you do, press yes. If you do not, press no. Press yes or no now.
Go ahead.
Ice Cult determines that this is the perfect time to put his plan into action. Nodding to Mystique, Ice Cult chants the incantation over Magda's remains while holding Mystique's hand and the talisman. They wait, and nothing happens.
It doesn't work. You lied to me.
No. I was told that it would bring back the souls of the dead. The person who sold it to me must have lied.
Whoever's lie it was may have gotten us both killed.
At the clearing, one of Magneto's acolytes speaks.
Lord Magnus,
What is it, Scanner?
I was doing a reconnaissance of the area in my astral form. There are 2 others here.
Magneto calls out to them, demanding that they reveal themselves. Mystique realizes that her survival may depend on her ability to carry out Ice Cult's original plan. She emerges from hiding, looking like the woman in Ice Cult's files.
It is I, my love.
Magneto's shoulders sag at the sight of the woman.
Magda?
Yes, my love. Your presence, your latest threats to humanity brought me back here.
Magneto floats to Earth, looking more human than his acolytes have ever seen him. Even the X-Men are stunned by his complete change of personality.
This cannot be true.
I don't understand it myself, my love, but I felt drawn here. We have unfinished business. My soul will not rest until we have come to terms with it.
Magneto stares at the woman. She looks exactly as he remembers her. There is no doubt in his mind that this is Magda, the woman he loved, the mother of his children, the woman who was terrified by his mutant powers and ran away from him, the woman whose daughter was sacrificed to the hatred of humans.
What is our unfinished business?
Mystique tries to recall everything that she read about Magda in the files Icecalt gave her.
Your hatred of humans. I understand you now. I didn't then, not when I ran away. Oh, I could understand why you would hate. The Nazis killed your parents and your sister in Auschwitz. They were victims of the Holocaust, as were we all. Even then, I could feel your hatred growing. You didn't want to believe that you were a part of a race that could commit such atrocities. When our daughter Anya was killed in that arsonist fire, your true nature emerged. You weren't human, you were a mutant. And your hate, your rage exploded around you. I was scared. I ran away.
You couldn't face the fact that I am a mutant. You are like all the other humans who have betrayed me.
The woman steps forward and removes Magneto's helmet. Magnus turns his head to try to hide the tear running down his cheek. She reaches up and brushes it away, just as she had done countless times in the prison camp. He had forgotten how it had felt to connect with another human.
No, Eric. It wasn't because you are a mutant that I ran away. It was because of all the hate you had in your soul. That terrified me. It still does.
Why do you defend humans to me? They hurt you in the same way they hurt me? Do you really want them to rule the Earth? I could lead the mutants. There wouldn't have to be any killing once I have assumed power.
I defend humans because I am human. When you look at me, can you truly say that all humans should be hated?
Magneto looks into the woman's eyes and feels a tugging in his heart. Amelia uses the psi device. She scans the minds of Magda and Icecalt. Professor X also scans the brain waves of the woman claiming to be Magda. What he discovers is the distinctive psi pattern of the mutant he knows as Mystique. He quickly scans Icecult's mind and learns about the plan to convince Magneto that he should not hate all humans. Xavier feels that to reveal the deception could lead to disaster. Unfortunately, he is not the only one who has figured out what has happened. So has Amelia Vogt, Magneto's acolyte.
Uh-oh, does Amelia tell Magneto the truth? Press 3 if you want her to unmask Mystique. Press 4 if she lets Mystique play out her deception. Press 3 or 4 now.
4. I want to see what it does. I've never taken this route.
Although Vogt sincerely believes that Magneto is right in his feelings toward humanity, she recognizes the fact that he can be unstable and vengeful. She decides it is best to let the scenario play itself out.
I don't have much time, my love. I cannot stay here.
You must. I will not lose you again.
I no longer belong on this plane of existence. But, my love, I shall have no peace until you promise me that you will not wage war against humanity. Not all humans are your enemy. I was not your enemy. Anya was not your enemy.
Cease, woman.
Flying over their heads is Exodus. One of Magneto's chief acolytes, the winged mutant looks down on the proceedings and sees the soul of his leader being corrupted.
I shall not permit you to sway Lord Magnus from his path.
My love, do not let your hate rule your heart.
Would you betray your people to a human, Lord Magnus? Your people need you. We need you to be strong, so that we may take our rightful place as the inheritors of Earth.
Exodus is right in one way. The mutants of Earth do need a leader, someone who can teach both sides tolerance. You could be that leader. Honor my memory by making peace.
I will do as you ask, Magda. No, I cannot let this creature cause you to betray your people or your dream.
Forgive what I do, Lord Magnus, but you will come to understand why I do this.
Exodus's eyes flame and the earth rocks. In a sudden firestorm, Mystique vanishes. Magneto falls to his knees, weeping, believing that he once again lost Magda.
You, X-Men, you are the ones who created this lie. You must suffer for the pain you have brought to Lord Magnus.
Exodus prepares to attack Professor X and his students, but is distracted by a sudden storm of colors, lights, and explosion.
That's what you think, bozo!
Jubilee, who had remained hidden on the Blackbird until this moment, could see the trouble brewing as soon as Exodus arrived. Now she stands with her friends, ready to give her life to protect her teammates. The look on Exodus's face makes them believe that all their lives are in jeopardy. The X-Men tense their muscles, preparing for what might be their final battle, when Magneto takes flight and attacks Exodus.
You took her away from me. I have lost Magda again because of you. You ask for forgiveness. I give you death.
An electrical storm rages around them as Magneto flies into space, taking Exodus with him.
And that is but one way this story could end. Magneto and Exodus take their fight into space as the Acolytes escape. The X-Men restore Magda's grave, then return to the X-Mansion. However, this story isn't really over. I still have many surprises hidden in my memory banks. To access them, all you have to do is rewind my tape and play it again. The next time you play, be sure to make different choices, and that this story might end differently. For example, the next time you play, you might want to find out what happens if the X-Men take their battle to Avalon. Every choice you make affects the story. Okay, goodbye for now, and please rewind this tape.
Man! Anyway, guys, I hope all of you enjoyed this video. And, as I said at the beginning, let me know whether you want me to, perform the educational tapes for this robot, or whether to move on to something else. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my newest batch of subscribers. You have taken me to 668, and I am sincerely thankful. If any of you have seen a robot that you would like to see more of, if you have any questions about it, if I still own it, I will be glad to do a video of it. Just put your question or request, whatever it is, in the comments, and I will try to make it happen. So anyway, as usual, like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell so you will know whenever I upload new content. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.